What's up, everybody? Welcome back to another NBA Rundown, courtesy of Run Pure Sports and Run Pure Bets. Remember, please like and subscribe. The video helps us get this show, keep it on the tracks, keep it rolling. And speaking of rolling, we are back today with another jam-packed episode on a jam-packed slate. I got Tyler and AP with me. Tyler, how are we doing today?
Good, just ready to make some money. We got 9 games. We got a lot of spots we could hit and see what we could find.
Yeah, there's a couple cancellations, and then they threw one in, to keep the slate heavy, and I love it because I love these heavy Friday night slates. And AP, we were talking before we gone on about since we've been doing the show together, our Fridays have been going pretty well. So how are you doing today?
Nice, man. Been going, doing really well. That's good to hear too. Betting wise, I mean,
Yeah.
as we were just talking right before we went live, it's been a few days at least since I put a bet in, and so I'm excited to get back to it to get some winners going tonight.
Yeah, well, we're excited too because you've been doing quite well this season, and we'll definitely be excited to be taking on some of these wagers that you'll be taking on. So the first game that we're going to look at is, heavy spread. Usually don't like heavy spreads, but I'm considering laying it here, and it's Denver headed to Cleveland. We know Denver is just a boy. I mean, they take up half the sheet on the injury report here. I noticed they're still missing Gary Harris and PJ Dozier for sure, and Paul Millsap. But looks like we'll get Will Barton back. He's questionable, but I'm hoping he'll be back. And looks like Monte Morris will be back. Now they're laying 8.5 to a Cleveland team that, boy, they are doing terribly. They started good. They were the surprise of the season. A lot of good feelings in Cleveland, and it's in a terrible 8-game stretch for them. They've lost 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 8 games in a row, and only one of them was by less than 10 points, and that was a 6-point loss to Phoenix back on February 7th. So I'm leaning to go ahead and lay the 8 here, as crazy as that sounds, just because Cleveland's been so bad. What do you think, AP?
Yeah, I get it. I'm looking at the total here. I think it's what? Okay, so it opened at 220. I mean, yeah, we missed a really good number, or at least I did. Is it 225 now? Is that what you guys are seeing?
That's what I'm seeing.
Yeah, I see.
Yeah,
From
so
220
like
to 226. Yeah.
So here's the thing. So I'm dialing in our content on the DFS side, and one thing I look a lot at very closely at is rotations. It doesn't matter if the Cavs are in a blowout or not. Darius Garland and Colin Sexton are getting max minutes. Like Colin Sexton's playing 40 minutes a game. Doesn't matter if they're down 30 or 40 points. He is in there. The only guy that really gets pulled is Jared Allen, and they stagger the bigs, or they put in Windler or Lamar Stevens, Dean Wade, some of these guys. And so what I'm getting at is it makes sense that the total came up because you're going to have Sexton in there, you're going to have Garland in there. And, I mean, the Nuggets, my only fear would be they do play down to their opponents at times. Mm-hmm. There's no way I could take Cleveland's side, and I don't know if I could lay 8.5 here. I love this game for DFS. This is like a really nice game right out of the gate for DFS. I think I'm going to have a lot of interest in like Garland. He's pretty cheap. Sexton, he's priced probably pretty appropriately, but then we got Jared Allen. If like the Cavs can keep this close, I think he's in a smash spot. And then you have Jamal Murray and Nikola Jokic, who are just playing max minutes with all of these guys out. So for me, it's a DFS target game. I don't think I'll be laying anything here. Wish we would have gotten the overs early, though.
Yeah, definitely. Should have hit that one overnight. Didn't anticipate the 6-point move, and most of the numbers have been moving the other way. I think this move is warranted. Tyler, when we look at the difference in this Cleveland team between the team that was doing so well at the beginning of the season and now, it's the absence of two bigger men, and that's Andre Drummond, who's now sitting. And it's funny because I didn't see it on the court, so sometimes we don't know this stuff. But supposedly a lot of attitude issues led into this. Obviously, he's on the market, and they don't want him to get hurt before they trade him. But a lot of it was basically the attitude in the locker room and behind the scenes, which, I guess I shouldn't be that surprised. But I guess I was a little surprised when I originally read it. And then another one is Larry Nance, just – you wouldn't think that he matters that much, but you watch this team and you watch how they played since he's been out of the lineup, and they just haven't been able to defend. We know that Sexton and Garland weren't that good. They were relying on their big men, because they weren't really stopping the point of attack, and now it's just all falling to pieces. So are you with me here to lay the 8 or the 8.5, and do you also have any props for this game?
I lean that side. I mean, there's just no way you could take Cleveland here.
Yeah.
I mean, yeah, they started off the year nice, but it seems like it's been 3 weeks in a row we've talked about this team having the bottom 30th ranked effective field goal percentage.
Mm-hmm.
This team just can't put the ball in the basket, and they rank 15 in pace. So they're getting up and down the floor with the top 15 teams, but they just can't score. So they're literally running themselves off the floor. It also doesn't help that they're holding their opponents to the second worst field goal percentage in the whole league. So they're letting their opponents score at will. So, I mean, I think it is a Denver or no spot here.
Yeah, I mean, we talk about get right games. To me, this has get right written all over it. So let's see if the Nuggets can get back on form after a week that they had some poor results, but with all the wings missing, not necessarily much a surprise, and did not get downgraded in my power ratings, even though they didn't have the best week. Now, the next game we're going to move to, I think this game is tricky. I really think this game is tricky, and it's Golden State heading to the Orlando Magic. Now, we faded the Magic on the show with Big T on Wednesday, and boy, they showed out. They played quite the game, and the difference I think on that team is, hey, before you place a Magic bet, you got to find out if Evan Fournier is in the lineup because they're so much better with them on the floor, and that's what we saw Wednesday night. Now they're going to play a Golden State team that's kind of getting things in the right direction, right? Win over Miami, a win over Cleveland doesn't mean much. The loss to Brooklyn was rough, but before that they had wins over Orlando and San Antonio, so they've won 4 of their last 5. We know that when Draymond and Steph are in there, they can still get it done. Those guys play so well together, but laying 4.5 on the road against a Magic team that might be doing a little better after their original spate of injuries didn't seem to be the most appealing bet to me. What do you think, AP? Did you like Golden State or Orlando in this game? And the total is barely moving from 225 to 224.
Yeah, it's interesting because Draymond Green is questionable right now. Obviously, if he got ruled out, that would be a big hit, and I think we would see a pretty decent live movement there. You'd have to think, or at least I would hop on the Magic. I'm looking at Vucevic, and when you look at this from a matchup perspective, I don't know who is going to, shut him down on the Warriors side. He should be able to absolutely get what he wants. And now what I was looking at is the Magic went and played them recently. They lost 105 to 111. Weren't they on a back-to-back, or I think they were on that long road stretch or something. And so and they're dealing with all those injuries. So that is a loss that I'd want to discount slightly. I lean Magic in the side here, but man, I've not done well betting against this Warriors team this year. They're a scrappy group. Steph Curry's playing very well. Finally, Kelly Oubre is also playing really well on both ends of the courts. He makes a lot of really dumb mistakes sometimes, and he's kind of cleaning some of those up. I guess my fear here would be if Draymond's playing and if Andrew Wiggins is playing good and if, Curry's just been phenomenal this year. Doesn't matter if you're a Curry fan or not. One thing I heard this morning just listening to NBA radio is I think he was the unanimous number 1 guard for All-Star voting, which was cool to see. Even though I don't even like Steph Curry that much at all. I actually used to hate him. And, I'm kind of a fan this year. It's fun watching them play. So that would be my only hesitation betting a Warriors side here. I do have a pretty strong lean on the Magic, though. I really want to wait to see what happens with Draymond. I mean, what do you guys think?
Yeah, I agree on that Draymond news. Although he got ruled out on I think it was Wednesday night. We all jumped in on Miami, and they were able to play pretty well without him. So I think the rest of the role players are coming around. I wouldn't necessarily say it becomes like an auto play, but if you already liked the Warriors and he's in, I would say go for it when you hear that news. I'm kind of with you though. I kind of lean the Magic. It's a cross country trip. They're starting early, for a West Coast team, and I think that Vucevic matchup could be huge. So. Yeah, I don't know if I'll end up getting involved in this game, but I do think it's fascinating. I'll definitely have it on TV because I want to see how it plays out. Tyler, what do you think? We've been on the fence here. Do you want to plant a flag and take a side?
I mean, I think I just got to roll with Golden State here.
All right.
Both teams are playing good defense. They're holding their opponents to the second and third ranked field goal percentages. But I just think that 3-point shooting from Golden State's what separates them from Orlando. I think they'll just be able to open up that score. Threes don't equal twos here. Vucevic will be able to eat under that rim all he wants. But if Steph's doing the same thing on the 3 line, the score is just going to increase for Golden State. So give me Golden State here.
All right, and I definitely can't disagree with that take either. So I'm glad that you came in here with a strong take. Now, do you have a prop for this game at all? Is there anything that's looking out to you? He mentioned Vukovic. I mean, a PRA
I actually like Oubre's points over 17.5. I mean, the dude's been on fire.
Okay.
I mean, he's either going to draw Fournier or Ross, who are both going to be more looking on the offensive end. So he should be able to get anything he wants at will. As long as that shot's dropping from 3, I think he soars over that 17.5.
Yeah, a key for Oubre, he's got to keep cutting to the basket. I think at the beginning of the year he was too stagnant, playing that kind of like 5-out that he was used to. But in the Warriors' offense, that doesn't work. Once he started cutting, it's given him a little more space to get those threes off, and obviously becoming more comfortable. And he started so bad. I mean, he was the butt of every joke. Then attention shifted elsewhere, and he's kind of able to play under the radar again, and he's been doing much better. AP, what did you think about that look?
Yeah, I like that for DFS, actually. So he's kind of priced in no man's land, 6,400 on DraftKings, 66 on FanDuel. He played well in this matchup. The first go-around, 38 DraftKings points, and that was with no steals or blocks. And Oubre is a guy that definitely is involved in those peripheral stats and steals and blocks. So if you add in like a combination of 2 steals and blocks, that pushes them right up to that 42 to 44 potential range. I like him in tournaments. I mean, that's a good call for sure.
All right, so Kelly Oubre may be a look there. AP and I weren't for sure, but Tyler was planning.
Oh, hey, real quick, guys. Real quick. Sorry to interrupt, Spread. But
go ahead.
Speaking of DFS, our guy, man, did you guys see what Mr. Big T did again last night?
Another $100,000.
I mean,
this is just every day, $100K.
Country that he's
my gosh!
I don't know what's gonna be higher, the GDP of Singapore or Big T's winnings. I mean, it's just unbelievable what he's doing.
The guy's on it's fun to see. It's real cool. But anyways,
yeah. So hopefully he'll be able to keep that up, and we've been having a lot of fun with him coming on the Wednesday shows. So this next one that we're doing, Atlanta and Boston. So this is one of the ones that is new to the NBA this season, and I'm definitely had a little bit of success, a little bit of setbacks trying to navigate these basically back-to-backs, but at the same arena, same game, they just run it straight back. And this is Atlanta going to Boston. Boston's open minus 4.5. It's now -4. The total open 226. It's now 225.5. So real slight moves, but nothing that would push you off or make you think that you're late to the party if you like a side or total. Now, Atlanta got the win. Atlanta's been struggling. We talked about how much, they've been missing DeAndre Hunter, but they were able to pull it off. An 8-point win over Boston, 122-114 on Wednesday night. Now they run it back with, I think, pretty much the same exact people. I don't see anything different on the injury report that was different from that game. I'm seeing Rondo's out, Kemba Walker probable, but I expect him to play. Jaylen Brown's questionable. I mean, if he's out, throw the whole number out the window for the Celtics, but I expect him to play, and no Daniel Tice. So, AP, what do you think? Sometimes we've been zigzagging on these games. Definitely didn't work if you zigzagged with Milwaukee last night. Do you think Atlanta can make it 2 in a row?
Man, it's a sharp spread. I kind of figured that we would have seen Vegas adjust a little bit more, but when I look at that line, we got Kemba. I don't think he did not play in the first matchup. Jaylen Brown's questionable, but I kind of think he plays tonight. At least that's what the line's telling me. And if you get a full, Kemba, Jaylen, Tatum, and it looks like a healthy squad, I don't know. I definitely can't touch the Hawks here. I would lean Boston. I think the total is a good number, 225, 226. Right. I'm not. We've seen these teams can actually play good defense, and we can see the pace slow down a little bit. It's not the Hawks of late, of last year that were just run and gun. We've seen them slow down, and that can absolutely kill an overs bet. And it's painful to see. And then we can see, if Kimba's not that good of a defender, but Jaylen Brown and Jason Tatum are excellent defenders. And so, man, I would lean Boston, and I would lean kind of the unders here. What about you guys?
Yeah, I'm leaning Boston here yet. Didn't pull the trigger. Definitely want to talk to you guys because I think this is another interesting game. It's just weird after to make the bet right after you watched Atlanta play so well against them Wednesday night, and it's just the question is, can they do it 2 nights in a row? So, Tyler, what do you think? Can they do it twice in a row here in Boston, or do you think the zigzag comes into effect tonight?
I kind of lean Atlanta again.
All right.
I think this Boston team is just in shambles, and they're missing their one key guy that brings them all together. Marcus Smart,
the heart of the team.
Yeah, that's a good mention.
I mean, when things are going bad on the defensive end, who goes to that guy that's a hot hand? Marcus Smart. Right. No matter size, if he's a point guard, if he's a center, it's Marcus Smart. So, I mean, when they played this game on Wednesday, it was the game of who's going to get right first. Both teams were coming in stumbling. Atlanta won that game. I'd probably take Atlanta again here, just basically on the fact that I think Collins and Capella are going to dominate the paint. Boston has no answer for them down low.
Yeah, and speaking of that, Tyler, like if you play DFS tonight, Clint Capella is cheap. He's not expensive at all. He's going to absolutely smash again. So that's a good. Hey, Tyler, do you have a lean on like the total here? Because man, the Hawks shot 60% last game from the field, 57%.
I'd probably lean under. If Boston's going to win, they're going to have to get down in their defensive stance, play some defense, and win this game like grit and grind. They're not going to be able to just shoot them off the floor.
Yeah, and you talked about the missing Marcus Smart, and I think that's what makes Jaylen Brown, what he's doing this season, is even more impressive. The fact that he's oftentimes guarding the best or second best offensive option on the opponents, and then he's taking all this role, this huge usage role on the offensive end. He's still been able to do it. So credit to his conditioning. And speaking of conditioning, Jason Tatum is a guy that doesn't seem to have recovered fully from his bout with COVID. And you see him out there, and it's not the same player since before the break. So that is something else that we need to take into consideration. AP, do you think that Brown's appropriately priced here, or is he someone that might make his way into your lineup?
I think, Kimba's still the cheap guy. He's so frustrating. Like, he's been terrible. He's been really bad. But then when he gets hot, he gets hot. Like, he could easily put up a big number here against Trae Young. I'm just looking at, so he started off hot against the Nuggets. They adjusted, and then he went cold. I feel like right now one of the other problems is Boston, like when they get into half-court offense, they're trying to play this ISO ball game. We saw it last night with the Bucks, like against Toronto. They just shut down in their half-court offense. I feel like the Celtics are kind of falling into that trap too, and it's just they're a much easier team to defend when they're doing that. So I think if we see Kimba, Jaylen, and Tatum all back tonight, I think we could, if they start, moving quicker, playing at a faster pace and playing in transition, and if they're spreading them out by hitting shots from the perimeter, I think that's going to be a scenario where we see them, get the win here, and maybe we see a guy like Kimba or Jaylen hit value. But honestly, the last thing, my last comment DFS-wise is, it's a lot of mouths to feed too. It's kind of picking and choosing who you want to play on their team. It can kind of get a little bit unpredictable there. So I'm not prioritizing any of them today.
Let me throw you one more DFS question. Now, Trae Young's obviously a big name with a big price tag. It's a heavy slate. Does he make it in tonight, or is he someone you've been kind of looking past as he's not really living up to, this top stud potential? Of the guys in there. I think he's 9-8 tonight. You're paying $10K for him. You need to get points or you're done for. What do you think? Does he make it in tonight, or are you a little worried?
Yeah, no, I think he does make it in. I think him and Capella are just a combo that you can definitely play, and you can run it back. I mean, the run backs is always tough because it eats up a lot of salary, and you don't have to run it back with anyone. But you could play both point guards against each other, Kimba, Trae Young, and throw Capella in there just because he's a matchup nightmare. Or John Collins. I'm not huge on John Collins at all. He is cheap though, 6.8K. He just hasn't been doing much lately. So I'd almost, maybe a Cam Reddish, 4.5K. Interesting game though for DFS.
Yeah, and it's an interesting game from a fan perspective. So definitely be on one of my 2 or 3 screens that I'll have going once these games tip off tonight. Another game, Tyler, it's a couple games we've talked about people feasting in the paint. This might be the mother of all feast in the paint, and that's Joel Embiid taking on the Chicago Bulls, who don't play defense inside or outside, but definitely have struggled inside. Now, some of that obviously is due to injuries. Boy, I'm not seeing as many out as before. What are you seeing here for Chicago? Is Otto Porter Jr. back? I don't see him on the list. Did they just take him off altogether?
Yeah, I'm not seeing him on the list either. I think he may be back.
He hasn't played for a little while, though, has he?
I don't think so. I'll double check and see if I can find something different.
Yeah, why don't you see if you can find something for me on that? And while we do that, because that actually surprised me. I was going to read off all the names of people who are listening, and I'm like, why isn't he there? Oh, wait, I see him as out or doubtful, so I don't know how he didn't get into my basketball monster. But let's start with you, AP. What do you think of this game? Opened at -9, now it's -8. Opened at 229, now it's 228. But it seems like a great matchup for Philly and Embiid. Would you be interested in laying the points here, or is that just too many?
Yeah, it's too many, especially because like Zach LaVine's been playing so good.
Yeah.
I mean, man, like he's just been playing really good. These are two teams I just have not been really betting closely. I think it's tough. I would not like bet the Bulls side, and I think 8 is just it's a little much, especially when Zach LaVine's just been he's been hitting everything. I mean, I'm looking at he has to be one of the better shooters this year, right? I mean, it just seems like he doesn't have a bad game. Like we used to see him have these kind of floor games.
Yeah.
You're not seeing it at all this year. It's crazy.
No, his numbers are through the roof. He's above 60% at the rim. He's above 50% from 2, and he's above 40% from 3. So, I mean, it's just been statistically, if you do just metrics and analytics, you never watch the game, just look at numbers, he's by far one of the best offensive players in the league. Now, watching the games, you do see kind of some of his drawbacks is the fact sometimes he doesn't get teammates involved. Sometimes he'll miss wide open passes. But he's been way better than the last couple of years, when before he used to really put blinders on. And when he had the ball, you kind of knew it wasn't going anywhere else. He's doing better job distributing. Still has those issues, I think, and sometimes worrisome because it makes him predictable down the stretch. When he gets the ball, you know that it's going up, and you see the defense is shading that way and playing that way. But, yeah, I mean, just statistically and from a DFS perspective, I mean, he must just be killing it for you guys. I'm seeing him priced at 9,300 tonight on DraftKings and 95 on FanDuel. So, boy, he could really put up some big numbers. But the guy I think that's going to put up big numbers is the guy that's at 10,700, and that's Joel Embiid. Now, that's really expensive, AP, but I mean, can you pass on Embiid against this Bulls team that really isn't that big?
I mean, the only problem I see is we have Jokic in the same price range. You got Vucevic, like we talked about, Capella. And then the other thing is I think we'll have a very safe value play in the next game we're going to talk about. Okay. And then so you got Giannis later. It becomes difficult, I think, because you got to rank and prioritize some of these studs because you can't play them all. And if this game blows out, or if all of these guys are healthy, I don't think you need to play Embiid, because why not just play Jokic, who's playing 38 minutes a game and is just absolutely smashing.
All right, makes sense. Tyler, what do you think of this game? Obviously the early money favors the Bulls. Do you favor the Bulls as well?
I do. I think this is one of them ones where Philly handles the game the whole way through. And then Chicago does that thing right at the end where they're shooting all their threes, and all of a sudden they're down by 3 with a minute to go. Yeah. And everyone's like, where the hell they come from?
Yeah, that can happen. They definitely,
they have a bad habit of doing that over the past 2 years.
Yeah, they definitely have. I mean, the back door is always wide open when you lay it against the Bulls, which can always be a concern. We said the total here was 228.5. Did you have a look on the total, Tyler?
I lean over. I mean, I think both these teams will get up and down. Embiid will get whatever he wants. LaVine will likely get whatever he wants until they decide to put Ben Simmons on him. So, I mean, I think at 228 is a little short. Yeah, I think one of them two teams gets into 120s. The other one hangs around right 114, 115.
I like the over with you there too. I think the only way he doesn't get there is the blowout. And that's Philly's defense shows up, and really just puts the clamps on Levine and company. But yeah, I kind of like the over too. Any props for you?
I like Embiid's over points, and I like Levine's overs. Let's go with the two chalk spots in this game.
I mean, hey, sometimes don't overthink these things, especially with these two teams and these two players that have been doing so well. So let me see, is this the game that you were talking about, Detroit and Memphis, or is our schedules looking a little different? Because the next one I was going to talk about, AP, is Detroit at Memphis. Memphis almost at -5. Now they're -4.5. Opened at 222, dropped to 220. Detroit's been covering, but the spreads are usually a little bigger. I lean Memphis here. What did you think of this game, AP?
Yeah, no, I was talking about the Suns Pelicans game. Willie Hernangomez.
Yeah, Big T loves him.
Sorry, what game were we on? My dog just threw up all over, and I got the wife on duty. She's cleaning it up for me.
Well,
thank you.
Woman, you'll definitely have to show her how much we appreciate it. But we're going to do Detroit and Memphis. Memphis laying 4.5 on a 220 total.
Yeah. So injury-wise, I mean, on Detroit, so we got, so they're still going to be out a few guys. Yeah, a bunch of guys questionable, but that's kind of been the case of late, and obviously Blake Griffin isn't playing. So we're going to get a ton of minutes. We're going to get a ton of run from Mason Plumlee, Grant, DeLone Wright, and Sadiq Bey, who's been playing really well. And these guys are all playing with like chips on their shoulders, which is good to see. So again, this is like we were talking before the show. I have far more interest like DFS wise. Now we're going to find some winners. I'm very confident in that for sure. But like, I'm a little bit more interested DFS wise in this game. The total just seems like I could see it playing out to where an overs hits if these teams are both efficient offensively, if guys are hitting shots. But then I could see it going under too. I think it's the perfect number. I'm definitely going to be curious to see what you guys have to say. And then it's like, I think, like, I'm pretty confident the Grizzlies win here, but man, I think we have a close game, which is why I'm interested in the spot for DFS. John Morant, I think he's, priced perfectly there. He's been playing really well. 7.4K coming off, 3 of his last 4 games. He smashed value. So we can go right back to him. And then, Valanciunas, I think he's priced just right. Not someone we have to force in. Not a bad matchup, but not like a cupcake matchup. So I'm torn on the spot. I think it's a better DFS spot just because we have some plays that we can go to for sure.
All right, Tyler. Well, I can't wait to hear your opinion on this because on Tuesday, I was talking up Memphis so much, hot team, playing right, playing well. And then they played this Pelicans team, right? And watching the game, I knew I was on the wrong side, and it seemed like the size was the issue, right? The Pelicans seemed bigger at every position. They were bullying them, and it just Memphis just looked too small to match up with them. Detroit is another team that kind of, plays big. Their best players are big. So I do like Memphis, but am I walking into the same trap, Tyler? What do you think?
I don't think so. I mean, with that game on Tuesday, we seen a guy on the floor miss 3 shots and put up 30 points. Mm-hmm. So, I mean, I don't see a Zion on Detroit's roster doing that tonight.
Okay, good point.
So, I mean, I think Memphis can win this game. DeLon Wright doesn't – I think he might be able to, keep up with John Morant point-wise, but everything else, I think John Morant runs away with it this game. So
yeah, and that should be a great matchup for him. I'm more worried about – how is Memphis going to stop these big guys that love to score in there, mainly Jeremy Grant? What do you think? Are they going to be able to slow him down, or is that going to be an issue for me if I want to lay at this 4.5?
I think they'll be able to slow him down. I mean, Valanciunas isn't the best shot blocker, but he is a big body down there. It'll be Mason Plumlee and not Steven Adams bumping him around this time, so
yeah,
it's a lot easier. But there's one spot. There's one spot I really like in this game, and that's Sadiq Bey. Sadiq Bey's points over 12.5.
Yeah, I mean, he's been fantastic, right? We knew he was going to be kind of a plug-and-play 3-and-D guy. Was struggling to hit the floor, but I think Detroit's making the right move. They're sitting Blake down. They're a developmental team anyways. They don't need a guy over 30, even if he was playing better out there. They already shipped off Derrick Rose, and Sadiq Bey made the most of his playing time. That might actually be the best look of this whole game, but we might circle back to this at the end because I still do have my eyes on laying it here with Memphis because, like I said, Detroit covers, but the spreads are usually a lot larger. They're usually 8, they're usually 9. Now as the bookmakers and the public have kind of caught on that this Detroit team keeps it close, the number's sinking down to where there might be value the other way. So, we'll circle back to that towards the end as we're making our best bets here because I definitely do have a nice little look on a feel about Memphis there. So let's go to the one that you were talking about, AP, and that was Phoenix heading to New Orleans. They played earlier this year, and I thought Phoenix would run them away with it, and it was like one of New Orleans' lone wins in the sandwich stretch of losses here. So I don't know if that was a matchup or just a bad night for Phoenix. Both teams coming off losses. I think Phoenix's last game was that loss to Brooklyn, which they really blew that game, and then tough loss for New Orleans on Wednesday night as well, losing to a tired Portland Trailblazers team, which also surprised me, caught me off guard a little. The Suns have been pretty good, but not that good on the road, and New Orleans has definitely been much better at home. New Orleans catching looks like it's plus 3.5 now, open -2. The total went from 229 to 230. So, and AP, you said you had a good look here DFS wise. What do you think of this game?
Yeah, I think it was the show last Friday where I can't remember who the Pelicans were playing. Maybe it was Detroit, where we talked about the total there and how relative to earlier in the season it was really high. And I wanted to bet the overs, but it was just, it was like 232, 233. It was just such a good number. And I think it smashed. And so what I'm getting at is this Pelicans team is playing at a much faster pace right now. We're seeing some crazy scores of late. If you go back, their last, 10 games, their combined total and their combined the combined total in their games are just massive. And so we get a game against the Suns where who'd you say won in the first matchup?
New Orleans.
I don't have it up right now.
I don't know if they played since then, but New Orleans won the last time Phoenix was in New Orleans.
Yeah. Okay. And it was 100. They lost 111 to 86, and so slower paced game. Two different teams now. The total again. The reason I can't bet this is because of how different the Pelicans are. They're letting Lonzo run. Him and Zion look good. No one is able to stop Zion right now. I think against Ayton down in the paint, he should still be able to have his way against Crowder and Ayton. I kind of like the Pelicans here. It's at home. I don't know. I guess what's your guys' take on Steven Adams? I think what he helps to do is he gives a little extra rim protection. He's kind of a stonewall down in the paint. I would rather see this team run. I would rather see them run with Lonzo, with Ingram and Zion, get Adams out of there. And I want them to be a fast-paced team. And when they are, I think that's when they're playing their best basketball. So if we see that tonight with Hernan Gomez, I think they keep it close and they could steal a win here from the Suns, who the Suns are definitely a team I respect, though, which is why it's a tough game to bet.
Yeah, maybe out of all of them, the best look might be the over. While you said that, I say, hey, AP's got something here, right? They've gone over 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7.
It's crazy. It's
seven games in a row they went over, and the time before that they pushed on a 227. So New Orleans has definitely been putting up points. I think that's the way I'd like to attack this game. And then if you force me to put a lean on the side, I guess I would go towards the Pelicans, but I wouldn't be that surprised if Phoenix got a little comeuppance or a little revenge here. Tyler, what do you think? We're leaning the over. Thoughts on the total, thoughts on the side, and maybe a prop or two for everybody.
I agree on the total, on the over, but give me Phoenix here.
All right, tell us why.
Both teams are playing slow paced, which with these scores, it would surprise you. One ranks 29th and the other one ranks 26th. But then you look at their effective field goal percentages, 3rd and 4th in the league. So that's where all the points are coming from. They might not be running fast, but they're putting the ball in the hoop every time up and down the floor. But then you look at how they're playing defense, and the Pelicans rank dead last in opponent field goal percentage. Phoenix is going to be coming to look to get right off that Brooklyn loss. I think Booker and them guys just light them up tonight, and Phoenix is out of there with a win.
All right. Well, can't argue there. Is there any props that you're attacking for the way this game is going, or are you going to go ahead and stay away from this one?
I like Booker's points over and Paul's assists over.
All right. Well, can't argue with that. Booker's points over and Chris Paul's assists over. Sounds like a plan, and we seem to think that this game goes over as well. The next game that we have on here, finally a dog I like. Oklahoma City taking on the struggling Milwaukee Bucks, who have lost 5 in a row, who looked absolutely terrible in prime time last night, seemed to be lost. This Oklahoma City team does pretty well against the spread. On Wednesday, we were on them. They came up short against Memphis, not able to get the cover, losing by 9 when they were catching 7. They haven't covered their last couple games in a row. Regardless, this Milwaukee team seems to be in shambles, and I can catch 11 points. What do you think, AP?
Yeah, I'm really surprised by the spread. I mean, that's crazy. Like, Thunder have been a scrappy team too. I've made a lot of money this season betting Thunder sides and these upset spots. Like, I would even look at the money line, assuming Horford's back. The one thing the Thunder can do is they can play decent defense. They got a few guys, and if they just do what the Raptors did, like, just absolutely. So, like, if you can stop and get a guy to just get right in front of whoever, on the Bucks side in transition, and then just trap them or switch, like, they struggle. If you get them into half court, into an half court offense set without Drew Holiday there, they are struggling. It's like they're giving it to Giannis, and teams know that Giannis, they're gonna let him shoot jumpers. Like, that's not what the Bucks want to do. They want to get to the rim. And then Middleton just looks lost right now too. It's almost like they're trying to force the ball to, like, Bryn Forbes, and then teams are closing him out. So, like, this team just looks absolutely lost. Maybe the Raptors just had their number, and maybe we see a completely different team. That's tough to imagine, though. I mean, I could see it. I could definitely see. I would not be surprised if, like, the Bucks were up by, like, 15 or something at halftime. But I would much rather take the side here, and I think that's a really smart bet.
Yeah, so this is one of my favorite dogs of the day, and I'm actually surprised, like, that they were getting more points than, say, a couple other dogs that I looked at, like Chicago. Chicago getting 9. I'm like, how's Oklahoma City getting 11? Chicago's only getting 9. The Cavaliers only getting 8. I mean, I thought they should be getting 12. So I thought this was the most mispriced game from trying to take an underdog perspective. So I like Oklahoma City here. Tyler, am I going to get in front of, like, a revenge, pissed off freight train tonight? Am I going to be in trouble? What do you think?
I don't think so, because I don't think this Bucks team is the same as it used to be.
Yeah, that's a good point.
Just like AP hit all the nails. He said it. They can't get right in transition. They need Drew Holiday. So, I mean, OKC will have SGA back. Mm-hmm. They might win this game outright as 11-point dogs.
Plus 516 right now on Bookmaker. If you feel like taking a stab, that could make your whole night.
Nope. I mean,
okay, guys, like, this might be a bad take, but if you're running this team, why not, like, try making a switch, start DJ Augustine, and have, like, Dante or move him and like, have Bryn Forbes come off the bench or something, just to get someone in there that can at least run a half-court offense. You know what you do in transition. You need someone. They're lost when they're in their half-court offense. They absolutely suck. So then all you have to do right now is stop them in transition, and that's the recipe to beating the Bucks.
Yeah, it's funny because I mentioned a buddy of mine comes over and we do a little early morning workout. He's obviously a Kings fan. And I say, boy, this Bucks team misses George Hill. And he hates George Hill because George Hill did not do well in his time in the Kings. But I think it's true. I think the team does not look good without George Hill. And to your point, AP, I think you're absolutely right. And I think this is one of the problems with Budenholzer, as in he kind of feels that, like, he's he needs to stay true to his system and that there needs to be consistency. And it's almost to the point where he's too rigid to actually like attack issues. Like I think that he gets a little too rigid, and it's why we don't see adjustments from this team in the playoffs either. This is the first time I'd say in 3 years they've had like a regular season issue like this that needs to be addressed. So it'll be interesting if he can finally like become what I would consider to be less stubborn, be a little more flexible, admit like, hey guys, we're not giving up on our principles if we make a couple lineup moves or we switch some strategy a tad. Because I think you're absolutely right. They need to do something to kickstart this team. So maybe it'll just be playing against Oklahoma City that gets them kickstarted. But I like Oklahoma City here. Tyler, did you already say that you like the points? I missed it.
Yeah, give me the points, and I'll probably sprinkle the money line.
And did you have a prop, Tyler?
I didn't have a prop, but I did like that under 233. That number's way too high in this game.
Oh, yes, I think so too. I definitely think so too, the way that they've been struggling. Mangone came through with the Chris Middleton under last night. Now, we talked about studs like 10-8. I'd much rather have Embiid at that price tag than Giannis. What do you think? Is this the good time to buy on Giannis? Is he going to be really low owned tonight? And would he be like an interesting pivot, or is he going to be in your lineup tonight, AP?
I mean, I definitely like him. So they just played. OKC is one team that they don't have a lot of big bodies that can stop him. So this is the one matchup to where he could definitely get into the paint and just do his thing. And he might do that tonight with how bad they are, with how bad they've been. So it might have to be like a Giannis game where he puts up, maybe like a 35, 40 point real game. So,
all right. Well, that would definitely turn the tide for sure if he's able to get back on track, because they need his leadership, and they need it right now to go ahead and turn this streak around. Before the season gets out of hand. It just shows you how high expectations are in Milwaukee now, which is a credit to Giannis overall. So let's talk about the team that beat them last night and beat them 2 nights ago and beat them soundly and looked great, and that's the Toronto Raptors. They're heading to Minnesota to play a Minnesota team who's missing D'Angelo Russell, which I think is a great thing because more Anthony Edwards, to me, is better for this team. This opened at 3.5. Minnesota took a little money. Now it's down to 2.5, and money has flooded in on the under. 231 to 226. When I see that, I'm wondering if there's injury news that I missed. So, AP, what are your thoughts on this game? And is there someone out that's causing this number to just nosedive like that?
Kyle Lowry was upgraded to questionable, so I think that's a good sign. He originally, when I opened up things in the morning, he was out, upgrade to questionable. It makes me think that there's a decent chance he plays. And if that's the case, I don't know. I like the Raptors. They're playing so good right now. But the Wolves with Karl Anthony Towns, I don't know, they're scrappy. Anthony Edwards is playing better. I definitely would lean the Raptors if we got word that Kyle Lowry was playing. If he is out, this is again a spot DFS wise. You can play Van Vliet, Norm Powell, Siakam. All of these guys are super cheap, especially for this matchup. I think Wolves wise, Towns is another guy who, or DFS wise, Towns is another guy that is going to fall into consideration just because he's 9.2K on DraftKings. He played 38 minutes against the Pacers, which I believe was an overtime game though. So I know one thing that frustrates me is Ryan Saunders and his rotations. I just think, I don't know, I wish their best guys were getting more minutes. We're finally, we're seeing Anthony Edwards get a ton of minutes now. I would like to see Karl Anthony Towns play 36. And if that was the case, he would be an absolute smash play tonight.
Yeah, I mean, Towns is so much fun to watch. He can get it done from everyone on the offensive end. Works outside, works inside so well. Really a complete player on the offensive end. Struggling on defense, but he's definitely got the talent to get there. I think he just needs to go ahead and make a commitment there more on that end, and that's what this team needs. Tyler, what do you think here? Seems like a pretty good spot for Toronto. Is it too easy?
I think it is. I think Minnesota's could get this spot with Toronto after they had that big game against Milwaukee yesterday. They could look at this as just like another game on the schedule. We know NBA teams like to take games off. So I think this could be a spot where Milwaukee does cover and maybe even wins the game outright, especially if Lowry doesn't play.
Yeah, I mean they look pretty good without Lowry, but yeah, I mean definitely could be a letdown spot for a team. And you and I, Tyler, I mean you get messages from me all the time about how much I like Anthony Edwards. Have you put his name in any of your props for the evening?
I didn't. We went right back to our guy Malik Beasley for a night in this game.
Okay.
I mean, I don't see much defense coming from the Toronto side. As long as he's hitting his shot, I think we see him get 20 plus, and that number's usually sitting around 19 and a half. So, I mean, I like that.
Yeah, I mean Beasley's not the best player, but if you go to his advanced metrics, he's the most efficient player on the Minnesota team. So,
And I just
definitely
pulled
something
up
to
the
be said for that.
numbers for
Yeah.
Toronto in the second leg of a back-to-back this year.
Uh-huh.
They are 0-4 covering the spread,
Oh no.
and they're losing them games by about 10 points.
Wow. Okay. So this is a team
Wow.
that deals with fatigue. So let's see if they can bounce back tonight. But boy, you're right. This has lit down written all over it. AP, as I move to the last game of the night, this line move is indicating that maybe we're going to have some more stars out, and it's not going to be as exciting as I thought. And that's the Utah Jazz taking on the Clippers again. We know the Jazz won on Wednesday night, and we didn't have George, Leonard, or Batum. I see them all as questionable for right now, but this line move makes me think that they don't think that they're going to play. What do you think about this game? Do we even bother to handicap it till we get the news, or did you have a strong feel about it?
I don't have a strong feel about it because, I was just pulling it up. Kawhi Leonard, Paul George, Luke Kennard, Batum, all questionable. Mike Conley's also questionable. And this Jazz team is just incredible right now, 24-5. Like, they are on a mission. I think, man, ever since Shaq, do you guys remember when Shaq called out Donovan Mitchell?
Ever since then.
Ever since then, they have not. I don't think they've lost. They lost to the Nuggets, I think.
Yeah, that one Nuggets game.
Outside, oh my gosh, yeah, they have. I mean, man, they are on fire right now. So I would lean the Jazz. I mean, I don't know. They keep crushing. It's just what kills it. Yeah, is if Paul George and Kawhi Leonard and all those guys come back, it obviously changes things. But still, I don't know. I mean, I don't have a read on if Kawhi and Paul George are going to play tonight.
Yeah, the only reason saying that is because it moved from 3.5 to 5 in the time I was out running my errands before the show. So,
okay,
8 a.m. my time, it was 3.5. Now it's 5. That's making me think that the books or the markets don't expect them to play.
Yeah, I mean, if they don't play, it's a good. I mean, I struggle to see the Clippers winning here for sure if they don't play. So,
and it's too bad because it's Friday night. It's the last game, right? And to see these teams at full strength is just a fascinating matchup. As we, when we're just talking general NBA, a podcast I do is just general NBA. We talk about, is Utah in that top tier, right? Like, are they there with the Clippers and the Lakers yet, where we should really consider them championship contenders? And to beat this team at full strength would really prove it. So maybe there's some gamesmanship and leading them out and not letting us find out, and kind of keeping that doubt in Utah's mind. Or they're just not healthy and they've just been decided to take it easy altogether. So, Tyler, what do you think about this game? And is there any way you're going to attack it from a prop perspective, especially if these players sit?
From a prop perspective, I really like Rudy Gobert here. I mean, the pick and roll he's going to eat at the rim. This team has no big man.
Right.
And if Kawhi doesn't play, then they really have no help down low. Mm-hmm. And they're still setting his points prop rate around 14.5, 15.5. And he's blew that number out of the water recently. So I'd go right back to that. And maybe even a Mitchell's points if those two guys don't play. Because who's going to guard him? Luke Kennard? Lou Williams?
Right. Exactly.
Like, there's nobody on that team to guard Donovan Mitchell.
Yeah. All right, so this could be a lot of fun for Utah if those guys don't play. Obviously, they looked pretty good against the weekend Clippers team on Wednesday night. So pretty good. We made it through all 10 games, and now it's the part of the show that everybody loves, and that's where we give out our favorite bet for the evening. Tyler, I'll start with you. What is your favorite bet on the board, side, total, or prop?
Side, total, or prop? Probably going to have to go with that Capella over 14.5 points.
All right.
I just think he dominated that Boston team down low.
All right. Capella over 14.5. I'll make sure that gets into the Discord as well. AP, favorite side, total, or prop for the evening?
Well, I like I like the game that I think you're going to be on, so I'm not going to take that.
No, go ahead. You can grab whatever.
No. I'm going to go the Suns Pelicans overs.
Okay.
I know that. So, like, I just re-looked at their pace numbers, and yeah, they are playing at a slower pace, but their offensive efficiency I see continuing here if Zion is getting the buckets in the paint, which I think he will be able to. And then we're going to have Devin Booker and Chris Paul doing their thing on the other end. So I think it's going to be a complete opposite of what we saw at the beginning of the year, and I think we see a ton of points here again.
All right, and I mean, I might end up regretting this because this team let me down the last time I backed them, but I'm going to go ahead and take the Memphis Grizzlies laying 4.5 against the Pistons. I like Memphis so much as a team overall, and as scrappy as the Pistons are, I think the books and the public have caught on to how much they've been covering. So I think they're moving the number down a little bit too low. The value shifted to the other side, and that's to go ahead and fade this team. It's less than 5. Expecting a big game from John Morant. So hopefully Memphis can get it done for me on Friday night. AP, you got anything for everybody before we get out of here?
If you're not a member, come sign up. I think we have our promo still going, Workbench 21. I believe it works for both sides. So come use that. It's going to give 25% off your first payment. You can do one package and get both the DFS advice side and the bet side. So yeah.
Yeah, head on over, Run Pure Sports, runpurebets.com. We got a huge jam-packed content this evening. For subscribers, Tyler and I will have private videos for you tomorrow. We'll not be public. We'll not be back to the public for this NBA rundown till Monday morning. But you will have Tyler and I privates video doing a quick little rundown of our best bets for tomorrow. Jay will be live for UFC on Saturday night, so he'll be on there. You're talking all sports, but they'll be basically on there for the UFC. One of the best UFC cappers in the business. His record speaks for himself. And then he's going to come back on Sunday and be live for the NASCAR events. NASCAR, we've traditionally done well live betting the last couple years. It's just been we've been making so many units off that. So we got that on the Run Pure Bet side. Not to mention JJ has a college basketball show, and of course all Joey Works and HTP's picks. You'll get access to Tyler's picks. And then on the Run Pure Sports DFS sides, they do their show. It starts for me 2:30, 5:30 Eastern. That goes till 4:30 my time, 7:30, and then they switch over to a private show before lock. But boy, those shows have been doing great. I mean, you're getting advice from Big T, the man on the heater. So please head over to Run Pure Sports, runpurebets.com. Tyler, you got anything else before we get out of here?
I mean, you guys gave the whole website breakdown, so no. All we got to do is win these bets now. So that's all I got.
The games are broken down. The plugs have been given. And, the picks have been made. So thank you guys for joining us. We will be back publicly for an NBA rundown on Monday morning. I know I got Joey working there for sure. We'll see who else we have as a guest. And then I'll be back all next week. Right at this time, we start at 1 Eastern, 10 Pacific for NBA rundown. Thanks for hanging out, guys, and Run Pure.